It's not as if there's nothing to talk about with our State Representative Jim Struzzi, who joins us on the phone this morning as layout yesterday. Quite an eventful day in Harrisburg. Budget talks going on and resulting finally in a budget vote. Representative Struzzi with us this morning. Brought to you by Marcus & Mack, voted best personal injury law firm in the Best of Indiana County contest. Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Representative Struzzi, good morning.
Good morning, Todd. Thanks for having me on.
I'm glad that you're here with us today. Let's talk budget first.
Sure.
The state budget came to a head yesterday, you might say, with the Senate and the House unable to come to an agreement, and then the governor stepping in and saying he'll use the line item veto and strike the private school initiative out. It's just my summarization of it. What's yours? When you looked at those budget negotiations and where they all went, how did you assess it?
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. That was an announcement that the governor made yesterday that he will, in fact, line item veto the Lifeline scholarships, or as the Senate renamed it, the PA Award for Student Success, or PASS, $100 million line item that was part of the budget negotiations. It's a give and take process here for the budget. House Democrats proposed a $46.9 billion budget. That was $1.4 billion more than the governor's $45.8 billion budget. So I think what the Senate Republicans did, coming up with a $45.5 billion budget, was truly a compromise. I think there were a lot of good things in the budget. There are things that I would have liked to have seen in the budget that weren't there, but I think ultimately that's part of the process. It's a give and take, a bit of a compromise, but at the end I think it's a good budget for Pennsylvania, and I believe it is truly noteworthy that the governor and the Senate Republicans were able to reach an agreement. The Lifeline scholarships, the PASS line item, that's unfortunate because I do think that would have helped a lot of students and families in poor performing school districts, particularly in the major cities.
And there were some on the Republican side who said that it just was a bridge too far for them, that they could not accept that. You were able to alleviate your concerns?
Yeah, it wasn't an easy decision, to be honest, Todd. I was back and forth on this budget. As I said, there were some things in there that weren't in there. Pre-K funding, early childhood education funding, additional funding for direct service professionals was not in there. I would have liked to have seen more in those items, but there were significant additions to some of the areas that were important to me, especially the state system of higher education. We were able to get the 6% increase that the chancellor had been asking for. There are significant increases in agriculture and community and economic development. We were able to take some additional funds for the state police out of the motor license fund while still funding those 4 new cadet classes. In addition to that, we were able to put $500 million in the rainy day fund, which brings that to $5.6 billion, which I think is significant because, we could be looking at an economic downturn. So I think it's noteworthy that we did not drain down the rainy day fund, but in fact added additional money to it.
Let's spend some time talking about energy. The big announcement yesterday, which was great news for Indiana County, the deal that will be happening in Center Township with the farmers and that whole very, very complex plant that will be going in. It's really interesting to watch how these things develop, and we know that they take quite a long time to put together. It must be pretty gratifying, though, to see that it actually is coming to be.
Absolutely. I think this is a highlight for Indiana County, the fact that it did take us several years, and I give a lot of credit to Senator Pittman, the commissioners, Byron Stauffer and his team, the local elected officials. All of us came together to try and make this happen, and it is truly unique for Pennsylvania, the first of its kind. So it's really an interesting process. I think that it will attract interested people to our community. It will help our local farmers through the cash payments for the manure to basically create the energy. And it's really a remarkable process in that it's innovative and really groundbreaking. So I'm really excited for this. I think it's going to be a true positive for Indiana County at a time when we need some more positive news, particularly in the Center Township area. So I'm really happy we were able to bring this to fruition.
There's a lot of science involved here, and you're not a scientist, and neither am I. When people come to you and they explain to you from their standpoint as the people who do know what's going on scientifically, I'm sure that it raises questions into your mind as to viability, affordability, all of those things. And all those concerns have to be answered before you throw your backing behind it, right?
Mm-hmm. And that's absolutely true. And I have to say that the people from Air Liquide, that's the company that's coming in, have been great partners. Completely forthright, ultimate transparency. They have proven this technology in other countries. It's not something new to them. It's new to us, but not new to them. So I have the full confidence that they're going to be great community partners. They're going to continue to work with the school district and other entities to make sure that they are providing useful services. They're going to create permanent jobs, some construction jobs as well in the short term. So really, while it's new to us, it's not new to them. So I have the full confidence that they're going to do everything they can to be great neighbors to our community.
And while we were talking about energy, of course, energy was a big topic for you last week right here in Indiana County as the hearing was held. Think back on that, and what were some of the things that were highlights for you?
Well, I think what was clear was that, we hit on the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, the first part of the hearing, to really highlight why it's not good for Pennsylvania, and we're clearly seeing that in Homer City with the Homer City Generating Station. I thought it was very revealing, some of the discussions during the latter part of the hearing on what we could do with energy in Pennsylvania, some of the steps that were outlined. First and foremost, obviously, stop going down this Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative path because that has already pushed capital investment in energy out of Pennsylvania. But make it so that we have a more level playing field for all energy resources in Pennsylvania. We are one of the largest energy exporters in the world, and it's simply foolish for us to basically shoot ourselves in the foot. And so I thought it was a great hearing. I appreciated all the people who came out from the community. I appreciated my colleagues who traveled from different areas of the state to be part of that policy hearing. But what we really need to do is look to the future of Pennsylvania, and that was my goal for that hearing. What can we do to open our doors to energy production while at the same time being mindful of environmental concerns and capitalizing on the resources we have here and getting that investment to come back to Pennsylvania. I thought, Sean Steffi from the Boilermakers was quite poignant in his testimony when he literally said, I'm shipping guys to Ohio and West Virginia because the jobs aren't here anymore. And that, to me, speaks volumes.
We have heard over the last 10 years or so about the potential for natural gas production here in Indiana County. Not just Indiana County, but the state of Pennsylvania. They say the state of Pennsylvania has either the second, but certainly the top 5 of natural gas resources sitting right underneath our feet. Is there any movement to actually get that gas into production so that we can really see the economic benefit that is sitting there?
Well, I don't think you'll see a lot of policy changes, unfortunately, in at least from the House perspective, Todd, because we're in the minority, and so the majority party is running the agenda as far as bills that run. But we are working, I think, to lay the groundwork for some future policy changes, and we can work within the confines of the Senate as well. I know that, as well as that Senator Pittman and I are on the same page when it comes to energy. And so I'm confident that, again, we can work together to try and craft policy that opens those doors instead of continuing to close them. It's unfortunate that just last week the House passed a resolution looking again at a severance tax on natural gas. And that is not going to bring the industry back to Pennsylvania. We have the impact fees that have generated billions of dollars for our local communities. So I think the last thing we need to be talking about are additional taxes on the energy industry.
We talked so much about the budget in the early portion of summer, but that now is evidently on the way to being settled, if not 100% settled right now. What do you look for the rest of the summer, the coming months, what your schedule is going to be here in Indiana County and back there in Harrisburg? What are some of the things you want to see happen?
Well, we still have some work to do on the budget, some code bills that need to be pushed through to make sure that basically the budget right now, Todd, is a spending plan. It basically caps the amounts that you can spend in these different line items. So you need the code bills to essentially say how that money will be spent, the nitty-gritty, if you will. And so we still need to do that work. I have legislation that I want to continue to work on over the course of the summer. It will be good to spend some time back in the district. I believe this is my fifth week in a row here in Harrisburg, so I'm looking forward to a full schedule of festivals and fairs. We're going to be out, as always, at the different festivals and community gatherings around the county, the Indiana County Fair, Knotweed, Hoodlebug, Climber Days, and things like that. So I'm looking forward to spending time at the fairs, meeting with constituents, eating a lot of good food, and really getting back into understanding what's happening at our local level.
Do you have an agenda of meetings and public open houses and things of that nature?
Not at the current moment. We were talking about having some things this fall, but with the uncertainty of this budget, I was hesitant to really come up with a calendar because there was talk of us having a budget impasse all the way through fall. I don't know that that's going to happen now. So we'll start looking at different events that we can schedule around the community. But again, as I said, we'll be out at different events. We'll have booths set up, and of course, our doors are always open at the district office. And as always, I encourage people to subscribe to our weekly email to find out what's happening both in Harrisburg and around the district.
All right, very good. Anything else we need to pass along to folks about your schedule?
Well, I just appreciate all the support that we get locally, all the feedback that I get through emails and different correspondence. I really do read every email that we get, and I do take the opinions and feelings of our constituents into heart. I represent the people of Indiana County in the 62nd District, and I don't take that for granted, and I appreciate the support, and I hope that the votes that we put up here in Harrisburg help us locally.
He is State Representative Jim Struzzi. Thanks so much for the visit.
Appreciate you having me, Todd. Thanks again.
All right. There you go. It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com.